Merry Meet Friends, Vix here, and I think I've got a plan for my Jane Eyre yarn. So if you watched my last video, you will see that I was gifted these beautiful yarns, actually part of a yarn and book swap. And they are to go with this beauty. Now, I have been racking my brains and researching every which way I can think of, asking everybody I can about what these flowers are on the front. So for those of you who didn't see my last video, this is part of the Signature Gilded Classics range, and it says on the back that the cover features florals directly inspired by the themes of the text. And I just couldn't figure out what they were. Finally decided that instead of researching the book cover itself, I just needed to look up the flowers. 4-petal flowers. Because a lot of people thought they looked like some sort of blossom, cherry blossom or something, but they're growing up and they've only got 4 petals. So I knew that wasn't right, but I think they're wallflowers. Now, it's very stylized and the colours are completely wrong, but that was the only thing that I came up with. And I think they're wallflowers, which in the Victorian language of flowers, wallflowers stand for something like fidelity through adversity. So I feel like that does actually really fit. So I've come up with a little design and I just can't decide. I designed it originally just with, I don't know if you can see that, just with the 2 flowers, and added a 3rd to balance it out, but actually I think it looked better just with the 2. So I'm going to use the sock pattern that I just used for my other DK socks, which is it's just a vanilla pattern. It's a straight pattern that I can add the colour work to. But the question is, which way around, how? Just how. The question is just how. So obviously the book is light flowers on a dark background, so I want to do that with the colour work on the leg. But I also want to A, make the most of my yarn, but B, potentially also make a pair of fingerless mittens as well with what's left. So the easiest way to do it would be use the pale for the contrast, so the colour work, the toe, the heel and the cuff, and just use this for the mane. But I don't think that's going to leave me a lot of this left for fingerless mittens, which actually isn't necessarily the end of the world, is it? Because there'll be plenty of this left. Oh, but I could do it that way, and then I could make the fingerless mitts out of this, but if there was enough left, put the flower on the fingerless mitts too, because I know what pattern I want to use for those. And they're quite plain. Ooh. I think that's what I'm going to go with. Unfortunately, I can't find many of the more recent Jane Eyre adaptations on any of my streaming services. I did find one, but I watched that a few days ago. So I'm either going to have to pay for them, and there's not a lot of money in the budget for that this week, or just watch something else. So for now, I've actually found The Mill on Prime, and I love this. It's based at Quarrybank Mill in Cheshire, which if you ever get the chance to visit it, please do. It's an incredible place. And I think it's actually based on the real lives of workers at Quarrybank Mill from the 1830s maybe. So it's the right sort of time period. Speaking of which, I thought that Jane Eyre was based in the 1840s, 1850s. But when Jane is travelling to, I think it's when she's travelling to Thornfield, she stops at an inn and there's a picture up of George III and the Prince Regent, which surely shifts that timeline slightly. Anyway, I just thought that was really interesting. So I'm going to get back into the mill and I'm going to cast on my socks. I am going to have to do something that's either really clever or needlessly complicated when it comes to doing the colour work. Because it's quite a small section, I don't want to carry the yarns round. So I'm going to have to keep it in the round but knit it straight. I think I know how to do it, so let's just get on with it. Telly first. Okay, I've finished the foot, and normally the beginning of round would be at the edge of a sock. It's quite funny actually, because few things irritate me more than when a sock pattern tells you to move the beginning of round. Move the beginning of the round to the back, the centre back, rather than just keeping it at the side. I can never see the point to it and it annoys me, but that's exactly what I'm now going to do. So I've done the heel and I'm back on the dark colour. Because I've got an odd number of stitches on the back and the front, I've marked the centre stitch instead of marking between two stitches. I've got my colourwork chart, and what I'm going to do is, when I get to this point, I'll work one round starting the colourwork, but then I'm going to turn it and I'm going to purl back around. And there's a way that you can do it so you can still join it. So you're still working in the round, but you're also working back and forth. It takes me a little bit of thinking about, and the light is doing very odd things in here today. It's also nearly time to pick the kids up, so I'm just going to get on with it, and then hopefully when I do the second sock, I'll be able to show you what I mean.
You're a good man, mate.
Okay, here we go, folks. How to work back and forth colour work in the round. So I'm on a knit row, and as you can see, hopefully, the yarn is going from this stitch in between the first 2 stitches on my right hand needle, which if you watch will become slightly clearer. So we're just going to work our knit row. Right, and when you get to the end, hopefully you can still see that. When you get to the end, you're going to work 1 purl stitch at the end, turn it, and then with your yarn in front, slip it, and then continue with your purl row. And then when you're back at the end, so that's working the final purl row, put your yarn in the back, slip that one, yarn back to the front, and slip it back again. And then if you see, when we turn it, we're back to the same position where the yarn is wrapped around. And that's literally all it is. You're essentially wrapping the stitch. But it's important that you work it on one row and slip it on the next row, because otherwise it creates too much of a gap, and it will leave you with a bit of a seam, but I quite like the way it looks, and that's why I've shifted the start of the round so that the seam goes down at the back of the sock. And they are finished. Now I will admit they have been finished for a while, and the fingerless mitts have also been finished for a while. I've just been busy, and too much glitchy braininess. Anyway, so sockies. I am very impressed actually with how the colourwork came out, and just the beautifulness of the yarn. I don't know, I hope you can see how lovely that is. So that was the easiest way to do those, which then meant that I had enough to make these. Look! And again, even just if they were plain, so beautiful. Now I have to say, I knitted the socks this way round because that was the way round the book cover is. They were light flowers on a dark background, but actually I think these are so much prettier. I just, the way the dark pops against the light background, I just think it works so much better. And not wanting to toot my own horn too much, I love the way this bottom came out. I do have some yarn left, but nothing overly notable. Hold on. That's it. So I'm pretty pleased. I'm really chuffed with how those fingerless mitts came out. I couldn't be happier with those. So that's about all I can say. I'm just so happy. And it's been so long since I filmed the rest that I don't know what else I need to say. Apart from they're finished and I love them, and I still haven't found any other versions of Jane Eyre to watch. So there's that. Oh, but I did find the most amazingly brilliant true crime period drama, and I can't remember now where I watched it. It's called Dark Angel, based on the crimes of Mary Ann Cotton. So the time period was pretty good. I was not expecting to come across that. I was a bit period dramaed out because I couldn't find anything that fit the time period that I was after, that I actually felt like watching. So I thought, okay, I'll just shift focus a little bit and I'll put some thrillers and whatnot on. And I came across this, like I say, called Dark Angel, and it has got, oh, I want to say Joanne Froggatt in. I know her primarily from Downton Abbey, but she's an actress that I was familiar with before that. And I thought she was brilliant. And it's also got, I want to say Jonas Armstrong. He was Robin Hood. A fair few years back now, they did a few series of a new Robin Hood that I absolutely adored. I wonder how easy that is to find to watch. Anyway, it's also got, I cannot remember the actor's name, but he plays William in Downton Abbey, and he actually plays one of Mary Ann Cotton's husbands in Dark Angel, and that just made me giggle because my brain is weird. So yeah, go and look up Dark Angel and like, subscribe, all that jazz. And what's the weather like where you are? Is it warming up? Because it's really warming up where I am. And given that we're in the midst of Me Made May, and I'm primarily a knitter, I'm somewhat struggling to find clothes. Okay, have a great day. Bye.